Hello and welcome to another edition of Windows and Doors with Positive Paul. Today I'm going to show you how to remove a stationary panel on a Marvin sliding French door. The reason why you would do something like this is either you had to replace it because it was damaged, or on the bottom of the door the vinyl leveling block that's on the bottom may be deformed and you have to replace it. Well, let's get started. Okay, first we're going to start by removing the screen, and this is our ultimate screen, so there's 3 screws at the top. If you had a standard screen, you would have to unhook the bottom and it would come out this way. So on this particular one, we're going to go ahead and remove the screws. And we'll set the screen to the side. Okay, next we're going to remove this track by removing these screws that are in here. Okay, we'll take this off and set it to the side. Next, we're going to go ahead and remove the side jamb parting stop and the head jamb parting stop. This thing I'm going to show you is going to look really scary, but it's going to be okay. So we'll go ahead and open this door a little bit. Now we're going to take a sharpened, really stiff putty knife, and we're going to put it between this gap here. And it looks like this may have been done on this door before. I haven't done it yet, but this gap's going to be really tight. Get that sharpened edge in there. And you're going to take your hammer. Sometimes this will pop off just with that one punch, but go ahead and just pop that off. And if this gets dented right here, that's okay, because once you take it off, you can straighten it back out. There we go. Just like that, and we'll set this to the side. And again, like I said, if this got dented a little bit, you can just take a hammer or something, and we can straighten that back out. But that'll be all right. It's time to do the top. You may want to have someone down below to catch it, because sometimes when you do this, it pops straight down. Just like that. Now we're going to go ahead and remove the handle and the bumper blocks on the top and bottom. And the reason for removing this handle is sometimes there's a hidden screw here, and so when you remove the top and bottom bumpers, it allows the door to go past this way, and you'll see a hidden screw here, so we can remove this panel track at the top. Let's get started. Put this in a safe spot. Okay, now we can remove all of these screws. Right there. All right, that was the last screw. That comes loose. You may have to adjust the rollers down on this door to get this off, but typically you shouldn't have to. You should be able to get this off, so apparently I have to adjust the wheels down. I do have to adjust the wheels down to get this out. Make sure it doesn't fall on your head, so I'm going counterclockwise on these wheels, and that'll allow that to come out. We'll set this and put it in a safe spot, and then we'll put this in a safe spot. Okay, if you're reusing this panel, take a pencil and draw a little pencil mark here. If this has already been painted or stained, you'll see it, because when we remove this piece, depending on how this particular panel was assembled at the factory, we may have to chisel out some wood behind it to get a screw if they screwed from the top, or if they used the little brackets, and we'll get it apart and see what they used here. Okay, we're going to remove some of these screws here on the interlock, so we can take this interlock off. Use a flat bar, get it behind there, pop this off. There's a kerf and barb system. There's a kerf here in the door, and this bar just fits in there and just pull it right off. Now, if this piece has been painted or stained, you may want to take a utility knife along these score lines here. So when we remove this wood piece, it doesn't take off any chunks of wood, and it makes it a little easier to pull out. And then we'll remove these screws here. Okay, that came right off. Okay, even though we saw this part come off really easy, I don't want you to think everything in my video is going to be very simple. So sometimes this will be stuck in there. And if you do, just get a screwdriver and put it between here, and then this will pop off and help break that free, okay? Okay, I'm in luck here. The reason why I wanted you to draw this pencil line is sometimes, depending on who built your door, they didn't use this bracket. Sometimes you'll see two of these brackets. Sometimes, especially if an older door, they put a screw through the top down. And the reason why I wanted you to draw a pencil mark here is so you can actually take a chisel and chisel out the wood here. And then that way you can see the head of the screw and use some cutters to cut the screw. And then that way when you put the cover back on, it covers that big hole there. But that's when if you're reusing this panel. But if you're replacing this panel, then who cares, right? So we're going to go ahead and leave that in for now, and we're going to go ahead and remove this side piece here. Okay, we're going to remove this side jamb parting stop. So again, if it's been painted or stained, you're going to run between the panel and here, and you're going to run a utility knife here to break any paint free. Now we're going to take our sharpened, stiffened putty knife, and we're going to put it at this gap here. And it's best to start from the top because when this door is assembled, they put a bead of silicone at the bottom that's a little hard to get off. So we'll just get in there just like that. Again, we use the kerf and bar system where there's a kerf here, and it's got this little connecting barb right here. And it just pulls out of the groove just like that. Again, I don't want you to think that everything is going to be easy, but so when you get to the bottom here, usually there's silicone that holds this piece on. So when you go to pull this wood off, you're going to have to slowly just let that silicone tear and rip. And of course, in this door, it's already been done before, but you get the idea. You just pull this off, and sometimes if this block of wood comes out behind it, that's fine. You can just take it out of there, and then we'll go ahead and set this to the side. We will reuse this. I'll cut it off of this piece and we'll reinsert it there. Okay. Now we have to remove our condensation cover down here, and we'll go ahead and start and do that by getting this weather stripping out of the way. It just should pull right out, just like that. We'll set that out of the way. And then we're going to take a little screwdriver under here to pop this up on this side. We're going to take our flat screwdriver and we're going to get it under here to get this started. Like that. Again, we use a kerf and bar system. You can see there's a kerf in there. And we're going to take this off all the way down. I'm going to continue to pull this up. Okay, grab it from this side. And there may be some silicone under here too, so when you're taking this up, it may be sticking. So just put constant steady pressure and pull this up, and all that silicone will slowly tear, and then this will come right off. This is something I wanted to show you, but apparently this panel's been replaced before in the field. Marvin puts a screw in an angle right here, and let me give you a close-up of that. Okay, you can see the screw there. That would go into the door panel and hold it in, and typically you would take some bolt cutters, and then you can break the screws that go through there. But we're going to pretend, and we're going to go ahead and pretend that we did it on this one here, and cut that one, and then we're going to cut this one. Now, it is extremely rare, but depending on who built your door, sometimes they may put a screw in through the frame this way. So if you pull on this door and it doesn't budge at all, there may be a hidden screw in there, and you may have to take a putty knife in there to try to find it. But that is extremely rare. Now that we have our pretend screws cut, we're going to go ahead and remove these two screws. Again, sometimes there's two series of these brackets. We're going to put our putty knife up in here and bend this bracket down like this. Then we'll shove our putty knife in there like that, and then we'll bend that bracket down. And then we'll go ahead and take out this backer rod that is in here. And we'll set this to the side. Okay, now that we got those cut, this bent, we got our backer rod out of the way, you should be able just to take this door, pull it towards you like this. Be mindful of the sill that you don't scratch it. You may want to put some tape down or something like that. And then you're going to go ahead, you can hold it towards you, and you're going to do a little dance with it. You're going to have to kind of move it like this. And get it unhooked just like that. So if you ever have to replace this leveling block, there's just a single screw in there. Okay, to get it off, I just use a flat bar, just like that. Okay, sometimes you can take this cover and slide it up, and then you can get that in there. And just pull this straight off. One thing I want to say about this leveling block, if you get one that's deformed on the end, I would suggest getting another one of these blocks here. And you can order these through your dealer and fill up this whole cavity with them. And when I've done that in the field, that helps really prevent these from shrinking or twisting or something like that. I just wanted to show that to you. I also want to take this opportunity to give you some perspective. And when we're putting the door back in, there's a little lip here. So this is on the bottom of the door panel here. And this, you're going to have to get the hook. So that hook will hook in that hook. And it'll fit on there like that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put this screw in here so this block doesn't slide down. Again, we're going to pretend that this is full. And the only reason why I'm showing you this is sometimes I'm trying to make a video that appeals for everything. So not everyone has to do this. And these are a handed piece. You see there's a little kerf there for that. So I'm just trying to make a general purpose video that covers just about everything here. Okay, now we're going to take our panel and we're going to set it back on there. Be mindful of the sill not to scratch it. And you're probably going to may have to have someone help you down there, but you should be able just to get that started. And I usually use my knee just to kick that in there. All right. Okay, now that we got this panel in place, we want to check our gap that runs along this edge. Okay, it looks good. Oh, we got a slight gap down there. I got a little trick for that. Let me show you. Okay, we know there's nothing perfect in construction. So if you have a slight gap over there, you can use something like this bar clamp to squeeze that panel over. If you don't have one of these, I've used a car jack before and some 2x4s. Be very mindful to protect your finish. You may want to use a block of wood or something there. And also not to over tighten this, because this edge cover, you could actually put a dent in it. So you really have to protect it. Okay, we got a really tight gap here. They don't always look like this. Sometimes there's little variances. Again, there's nothing perfect in construction, but that looks really good, and that's close enough. Now it's time to attach the panel back to the frame. Obviously, since we cut these screws off earlier, we can't drive a screw on a door that's already installed. So I'm going to show you 2 ways to fasten this panel to the frame. The first way I'm going to tell you how to do it, please don't try it at home unless you are an experienced person. The second way, super easy, and it's probably going to be the way you're going to go. Let me show you. First thing I'm going to show you on not what to do, but if you're experienced enough to do so, you can take your putty knife between your stop and the glass here. And since this door does have SDL bars on them, we can't get this off all the way. But what we can do, let me show you. What you can do is get a 12-inch 1/8 drill bit and drill a pilot hole between this glass and this wood and install these number 9 by 5-inch screws through there. But you got to be real mindful that the head of this screw does not hit the edge of that glass and you break your glass. If you do that, you're on your own. If you're ordering this as a replacement panel, and this is a brand new panel, Marvin's going to send you out some of these brackets, and this would be the easiest way for you to attach this panel to the frame. And basically this just fits in here like this. We're going to pre-drill some screws and we're going to put these little brackets in to hold this panel in place. Let me show you. Okay, now that I got my brackets in, I put a minimum of 3 of them on here. Now, if you don't put these on, what's going to happen is when you close the other door, it's going to catch this interlock and this will come undone. So it's very important to install these. So since we got those in, we could also remove our bar clamp. Now that I got my bar clamp removed, I'm going to go ahead and remove this piece of wood and reinsert it here. So be very mindful of when using sharp blades. We're just going to go ahead and cut this silicone off of here. That should help relieve that. And I'm going to go ahead and clean this silicone off in here so I can get this back in place. Now it's time to put our backer rod back in here. Try not to stretch it. If you stretch it, this will shrink back down the size. Just use a putty knife. Now we can bend our bracket back into place. Now if this was a new door panel, and this bracket obviously is not in there, in the package there'll be two of them that you screw through the top, and then you can screw through it. Okay, now it would be the crucial time to put in your silicone. Squirt silicone all the way up to here and all along in here. But since this is my door display, I'm not going to do that. But you get the idea. This has to be sealed up to at least 6 inches so water doesn't come in here. And then we can go ahead and put our condensation cover on over where the wet silicone is, like that. And then we'll install this all the way. And just take some kind of stair tool or a block of wood. And since we're down here and the weather stripping's already here, let's go ahead and put this in place. You may want to take some pledge on a paper towel and wipe this down as well. Now we can put on our side jam parting stop. So the silicone's still wet down there, so you need to be mindful not to make a mess. And we'll go ahead and pop this back into place. As you can see, those brackets that we put in there, this wood stop covers it right up. So it's time to go ahead and put our top piece in. So we can go ahead and put this piece back in. Snap it in there. And then we'll go ahead and put our screws in. Be mindful not to over tighten these, because if you over tighten it, this piece can go in like that. Then your doors won't operate properly. Go ahead and straighten this back out that I didn't when I took the door out. So this is going to be fun. May need an extra set of hands to help you, but this edge goes in this kerf here, and then you're going to hold it in there like that. And then you're going to go snap it in there by hand. You're going to go snap it in there, and you keep this hand in front of this one. Just like that. Let's go ahead and put this piece in. Try to get in there. Again, hand over hand. Get it started. And this is where you may want to have a helper hold this in. But if you just keep walking it down, at the very end, usually you'll hear a snap. And it stays right in place. We'll put our screen track back into place. Since we're on the outside, we'll go ahead and install our screen. And on our ultimate screen here, on our roller bar, these are threaded rivets, so they can spin out really easy. So you want to start them off by hand. And I would suggest doing the two ends first. Do this in, then this in, and then put this one in last. Okay, let's move on to the interior. We'll now set our active panel in. Okay, we'll put our panel guide back into place. Okay, now we'll install our bumper blocks. Install the handle. Well, there you have it. That was easy, right? If you've never done this before, I would say at least give yourself 1 to 2 hours to do this. I know in the video it seems very short, but I think the first time I ever did one all by myself about 20 years ago, I think it took me about 2 hours, so plan on that. If you want to learn how to adjust this door to work properly, please see my other video on how to adjust a Marvin sliding door for proper operation. I go over all the step-by-step steps you need to get this door to operate very well. If this video helped you out, please help me out by hitting the subscribe button. That really helps me out. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.